Hello, everybody. It's me, Pred, and yeah, I want to revisit Diablo 3 today because patch 2.3 was released last week, and a new ladder season started on Friday. And when I first read, I played the first season, right? I played when Diablo was released. I played when the expansion was released. I played, with the money auction house, and after the money auction house was gone. And I played with Barani. We have, I think, a let's play of that, the new expansion. And I played the first season, right? We're at season 4 right now. I played the first season and stopped afterwards. And I read the patch notes for 2.3. I didn't really plan on playing, and to be honest, the patch notes and the new features that they implemented, they didn't look all that interesting to me. I thought they were cool, but I never thought they would be enough to actually get me back into the game. And then last Thursday, I pulled a muscle in my lower back. I couldn't really walk or sit or lay down. It was really painful. I was really in pain, and I needed to have something that was a little mind numbing. And the most mind numbing game that I could think of was Diablo 3. So I just said, okay, well, fuck it. I'm going to get in my little position here with my little hot water bottle and some pain medication. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to give it another try. Start a new character in season 4. And Diablo was always one of these games where I talked to Barani about this a lot, and we agreed on this. Something that MMOs, Diablo's not an MMO, but MMOs are known for this. It's always this principle of doing work, aka grinding, to reach some certain point where you will have fun, right? I remember World of Warcraft, where you grind out gear, you go into LFR, or you raid, or you do dailies, which is the pure grind, just to get a certain item, or some certain stat, or whatever, or to get to some certain point in the game where you will then eventually start having fun. And Diablo is always a perversion of that. It's like they took out the part where it's about having fun and you only have work, right? And the stuff you reach, the goals you reach while doing this work will only make you more efficient doing the work. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's always the feeling that I got when I played Diablo. And I always reached this point when playing Diablo where you think, why am I doing this? Why am I playing this? It's not even fun. I'm hoping that there will be some drop, or that will change my build, and then finally I'll have fun. And then the item drops, and then you're like, okay, what do I do now? The build works, but I need this one single item to make the build really work, and then I'm gonna really have fun, and play the higher torment levels or whatever. And that's Diablo for me. And then it's always okay, I'm never gonna play Diablo again, because it's just a perversion of that that grind mentality. Some people might say that is what hack and slay is all about, but well, I don't know. I played Diablo 2 in my late teens, early 20s, and it wasn't really like that. It was always build diversity and trying different builds and being the most efficient when it comes to grinding. But it was always a really quick progression, I would say. Yeah. So I revisited Diablo, and I leveled a new character, Barbarian, and I went into the game, and the first thing that comes to mind, what they changed, was that you don't have to start the story mode, right? When you create a new season character, you don't have to go into story mode and play the whole campaign again, which is a pain in the ass, because I've played it like at least 24 times, I would say. So you can start directly in adventure mode. So you can do bounties, or you can do rifts to level up your character. And I hate leveling, right? I mean, leveling for me is the worst thing there is, because it especially in Diablo, it doesn't really make any sense. It's always like this little barrier, like it's like the lowest barrier you have to overcome to eventually have fun, which is, you know, grind and find new items. So I was kind of reluctant to start because of that, because I hate leveling. And but I started with doing rifts. I think I leveled to level 10, which took like 10 minutes. And then I started doing rifts. And leveling to 70 with no help, right? Just a solo game. It took maybe 6 hours, which is awesome. That is really short. I would actually think that must be half the time that it used to. And what made it, I mean, those 6-7 hours, they passed really, really quickly. And I think why it passed really quickly is, well, you start with level 10, and then I think my first legendary dropped, I mean, in the rift. I started rifts with level 10. I think my first legendary dropped in the first rift that I did, and it was a weapon, and it was really awesome, and it had a socket, and I could, you know, it had like some, I don't know which weapon it was like a two-hand sword, and was already like a build defining legendary that dropped. And I remember in season 1, and before that, it was always about, you know, legendary drop rate. And there should be at least one legendary per hour, right? You know, to keep people going. And that, I mean, that if you were playing on lower difficulty levels, there was never one legendary an hour. Like sometimes you would go 2 hours without a legendary. Really frustrating, you know? And then a legendary would drop, and it would be the biggest piece of shit ever. Because, you know, you could only use one certain like weapon or whatever to make you actually better. So most of the legendaries that you found, like in one session, maybe you played like 4 hours, you found like 3 legendaries. They're all crap, so you disenchanted them and couldn't do anything with them. In the leveling process, I probably found I don't know, I have to guess, maybe like 25 legendaries. And leveling was like really fun. It was really really short. It was really action packed. I probably tried 3 different builds because of the stuff I found just while leveling. It went really, really quick, and it was actually really, really fun, because when you do the campaign mode, you start off with fighting against, I mean, not that many mobs, right? It's not what Diablo is known for these absolutely big crowds of monsters that you just like slay down. And playing the Rift, you know, you start off with that. It's like there are like a lot of monsters, and you feel really badass already at an early level. And that made it like really quick and go really fast. So I reached level 70, and then I was like, oh no, okay, now the grind begins. And I remember in season 1, I played a Crusader, right? And it took probably, I played solo like most of the time. I remember playing multiplayer later, but at the beginning I played solo. And it took maybe, let me guess, 15 hours, 20 hours before I could actually go into Torment 1. And I would still die a couple of times. But it would be okay, you know, like I could survive and I could complete rifts or bounties or whatever. And now, it just took, you know, I because I was playing rifts, I got some yellow items that were level 60 270, like somewhere in that range. I found a couple of legendaries, and I could just hop into Torment 1 and play. And I would feel badass. I would never feel like, okay, this is too tough for me or whatever. I would just, it wouldn't be that fast, and it wouldn't be that like ass kicking, but you would still feel like pretty badass, and you could kill stuff quickly, and stuff would explode, and there would be blood everywhere, and you would find a lot of items, a lot of legendaries, and a lot of good legendaries. They put in so many items, so many set items, and so many rings, and armor and weapons, and most of it is usable. It's almost a little bit like a pyramid. When you're at the bottom, at level 70, you have like a broad range of equipment you can use, and the further progress into the game, the more you reach, depending on the build. I think like most of the classes have like 2 or 3 high level builds, that could sustain. In Torment 10, they added 3 new Torment levels. I think 7 was the largest one before, and now they're 10. Well, to play level 10 or 9 or 8, there are actually like only 2 to 3 builds that you can use. So the pyramid gets slimmer and slimmer when you go to the top in terms of what items you can use. But you still have variation in your build. I mean, there are best in slot items, where it gives you like 1% more if you use that item instead of another item. But it's still very narrow at the top, which is okay for me. So I started Torment level 1. I hopped into multiplayer really fast, which I would advise a lot of people doing, because it's almost like playing single player. Nobody talks anyway, unless you're playing with friends, which I don't have. And you just go through the rifts like really fast. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So I played Torment 1, and I got a lot of drops, like a lot of them. Found quite a good weapon. Can go to my inventory here. Like really early on, I found I think this weapon right here, which is Bulkatha's Warrior Blood. And Bulkatha's Warrior Blood is one of the 2 best in slot weapons for the whirlwind barb, as you can see right here. And that, I don't think, you would have, like, when it dropped and I found it, I was like, whoa, I'm like the luckiest guy in the world, because I was used to these kind of items would never drop for me, never, right? I would get like mediocre, like damage weapons, whatever. I disenchanted everything here, and you would have to play around with that. But like the top tier items would like never drop for me. Same goes with set items, because a lot of a Diablo endgame revolves around like 1 or 2 item sets you can collect, and there's mostly there's like one top tier one, and then there is like an alternative which is a little worse. And I played like, I don't know, maybe like 14 hours as a whole. So I leveled 7 hours, and I played another 7 hours just like grinding and doing rifts and stuff like that. And I think I found the weapon, and then I found one set item from the highest set, right? And then I was reading some guides, how to play the barb at high level or whatever. And everybody was like, okay, you need that set if you want to go into like Torment 10 later on, right? And I was like, okay, I'm never going to find that set. I already know I will never find pieces of the set to complete it. It's a 6-part set. That's almost like, impossible if you think about season 1 and before. And well, the next day I had the complete set, right? I had the complete set, and I could play like Torment 5, I think, Torment 4, Torment 5. And the reason why I have the new set is there are so many, not so many, but before you had to do rifts and you had to do bounties to get certain items. and you had to be like really lucky that something dropped. And now you have rifts, you have bounties, you have this cube right here. And what this cube can actually do, you have like recipes that you can use. And one of the recipes is upgrade a rare item. So you can put in, for example, a mighty weapon, one-hand sword, level 70. You can put it in here. You put in the standard crafting materials, like a death breath and the reusable parts, arcane dust, veiled crystal. You put it in the cube, you press the transmute button, and it gives you a set or epic item that is a mighty weapon. And believe it or not, I have two of the two best in slot weapons for a barbarian now, and one of them is actually ancient. An ancient is something they implemented to, I don't know if it was in this patch, I think it was before, and I'm gonna talk about that later. But I have found these two weapons just using this cube method 4 to 6 times in the time I played. Imagine that, 4 to 6 times, the best in slot weapons. So I was like, when I played, I was like, okay, the progress is like really fast, right? It's really fun. And you get a new item and you go into a rift and you can, kick ass. And there are so many legendary drops when you play in the tournament. I mean, like you get like 3. Well, it depends on which level you play, but I'm playing Torment 8 right now, and you get like 3 to 4 legendaries if you play a normal Rift, and you get like 3 legendaries or set items when you play, just drops, right? When you play a Greater Rift, and a Greater Rift takes me with this character. I'm going to do that at the end to just show you what else changed in the game. It takes like 3 minutes to play Greater Rift. So you get like 3 legendaries in 4 minutes. And you don't just get drops, you get a lot more blood shards. And I found I got so many items from Kadala right here for blood shards. I got at least 2 of my set items. I got I'm doing it for rings right now. I got the bracers here. These are like, they're not very good. The roll isn't very good, but they're one of the best in slot items. I got these fairly quickly from Kadala. And it's ancient too. So you get blood shards. I think you actually get more blood shards now, right? You can do bounties. You need bounties for some, because the bounty cachet at the end, it drops some crafting material which you need for extracting legendary powers, which is a new feature. You have 3 slots down here: a jewelry slot, an armor slot, and a weapon slot. And when you find a weapon and it has like a really nice like an orange writing, let me see if I find an example here. Like this one, Hellfire Amulet, gain the nerves of steel passive, right? That's a bad example because you can't extract anything from the Hellfire Amulet. But if you get a weapon or a ring or something and it has a nice legendary power, unique legendary power, you can extract it. And then you have this little manual right here, and you can just put it in and you will have the effect without putting the item on, right? You can do this for 3 items. So yeah, you have to do bounties for the crafting materials to extract the legendary powers. So I did like almost no bounties at all, because bounties suck, right? Bounties are like really boring, because if you want to do bounties the most efficient way, it's actually you play on normal, right? So it's mobs they like fall over without, if they just see you. So extracting legendary powers, very fun feature. It actually helps you have a more build diversity. Right now this is best in slot right here, which is amazing. I mean, the game came out the season started on Friday at 5 p.m. And I'm already like best in slot with everything. I mean, the rolls aren't very good, but I'm best in slot. So, you know, what are you going to say? Yeah, so I barely did any bounties. And I mostly do, like, if I want to, like, farm. And you don't, what you have to see is, when I say, like, farm or grind, it's like, it's not some undefined point in the future, you know, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to farm the next 2 weeks. I'm going to do like Nephilim Rifts for the next 2 weeks so I can get that one item. Or I hope I can get that one item. That's not how it is anymore. It's more like, okay, I'm going to farm for that item, and you basically know you will have it after 5 hours. And in those 5 hours, you will have like quite a lot of fun because your character is so badass. And I'm going to play a Torment 8 Rift very shortly, so you can see what I mean. And in those 5 hours, it's actually really fun to play because things go really quick. You don't die very much. You still die sometimes, but in those 5 hours, you will also find other interesting stuff, right? Let me give you an example. So I was just playing a little bit yesterday, and I found this right here, which is the Immortal King's Boulder Breaker. It's the ancient version, which is like the uber epic version of the normal one, and it has really good rolls, right? It's missing a socket, but I have this Ramaldini's gift right here, which puts a socket in there. I found that, and it's really cool because, I mean, I found this weapon 3 times, right? And I found it twice ancient and 1 normal. But I thought, like, you know, when I was playing, I had different stuff in mind first. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to disenchant it because I'm never going to use it anyway. But now it's like, okay, maybe I want to try a different build. And I think this weapon is actually best in slot for another build. I think. Right? So I'm just going to keep it because the rolls are just crazy good. Look at that. Yeah. So I found that happens like in the 5 hours. Or you find the Ramaldini's gift. Or you find one of the legendary potions right here. Or you find other really nice stuff. For example, I'm collecting like ancient set pieces right here. And right, so you could always like switch now and play a different build, and that after like a short amount of playing. And then I think what essentially happened is the game shifted a bit. I said in the beginning, the game was all about work, right? And you get items and you grind for items so you can do the work more efficiently, but it never reaches the point of actually having fun because the frustration of not finding certain items is just too big. But they kind of shifted the game a little bit because if you play Season, there are like rankings, right? Rankings for how fast can you do the Greater Rifts, right? And how high can you go in level with the Greater Rifts. And you can see here, you can pick your level with the Greater Rift, and you can see the difficulty equivalent right next to it, right? And that is actually the quote-unquote skill part of the game, right? And that's where you have to play really good, right? You have to play really good. You have to make the right choices at the right time. You have to think a little bit about, where your weak spots are as a player on your character, and then maybe, choose an item to help you reach higher rift levels. One example is I have the Pride of Cassius right here, which is kind of inferior to the belt I'm using right now, which is a pretty nice defensive belt, right? It's an ancient, as you can see, it has 111 resistance to all elements, whatever. But if I wanted to like push my rankings right now, I would have to use the Pride of Cassius belt because it has that increased duration of ignore pain by 5 seconds thing on it, right? And I just need that to survive, to get me the last little edge to push further in the rankings. So that's like the competitive skill part of the game, and they shifted the game towards that. Like almost every player now in a short amount of time can reach the point where they are like knocking on the door to the higher levels of the greater rifts, and can actually like compete if they wanted to. So now I have the feeling, well, do I want to push the greater rifts? Do I want to start being a more skillful player? So now I can engage into greater rifts after not very much time, right? And I'm going to compare the time later on between how much time everything took in season 1 and how much time everything took in season 4, which is another thing right here. Look at my money. It's 245 million, right? I remember one of the big frustrations on season 1 was, for example, creating gems, like upgrading the gems, for example, would take a huge fucking amount of money. And you would go broke if you were to upgrade gems. Worse than that was actually the enchanting, right? To re-roll a stat, right? That took crazy amount of money. And they definitely got rid of that. They devalued the money, more or less. You find money really easy now. There are like different types of goblins you can find. Some drop blood shards, some drop crafting materials, and some are just normal and drop items. And some of them drop money. And the first time I killed one of those money goblins, I was like, what the fuck? I think like it dropped like 12 million or something. So you don't have the frustration of this money barrier that you had like in early levels. So you can just, you find an item, you want to re-roll the stat, you can just go in here and really re-roll it, and you can do it like 50 times if you wanted to, if you have, of course, enough death breath, which is like the new barrier, I would say. This is something you always have a need for. Like you never have enough death breath. And I think when you are playing Torment 7 or Torment 8, you actually have a 100% chance that every elite pack drops death breath. Before that, they drop quite often. So as a comparison, if you run on the lower torments, like one rift, which takes 4 or 5 minutes, you can get about, 6, 7, 8 death breath, which you can use then for crafting. If you play in Torment 8, you get about 13, you get about double that amount, because sometimes they drop 2 on level 8. And sometimes you have goblins that drop like 12, 13 death breath. And goblins are fairly common. I remember yesterday I was playing with a group. We played like 5, 6 rifts together. And there were actually like 3 or 4 rifts of them that had at least one group of goblins, like a whole group, like 6, like running around and we're doing good damage, and we kill them all. And then you're like, you just get a shitload of money, and you get a shitload of blood shards, and you get a shitload of death breath. You come home after the rift, you can go back to the base. You can spend shards at Kadala, and I'm looking for rings at the moment because I need a second unity for my follower, and they cost 50 blood shards, right? And on Torment 8 you get like, I don't know, maybe 150 or something for completing one rift, and you can buy 3 rings, and like on average one of those 3 rings is going to be is going to be legendary or set item. So Kadala is not really frustrating anymore. Not really. You will get items, and you will get items that you can use, or that you think you can use like later on. So yeah, so money isn't a problem anymore, and that barrier is totally gone. Same with blood shards. They actually give you something now, which is awesome. The cube really helps with gearing your character, and the percentages of getting something useful are high. I mean, I got my ancient RAMBLE Cathos. I got it out of the damn cube. Alright. So that kind of works. Build diversity. Let's talk about that for a moment. Of course, there's like a cookie cutter build, right? There's like a cookie cutter build for pushing the rift levels. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. Sorry. And there's a cookie cutter build for pushing the rift levels, which is a little more defensive, and then there's a build like speed build. But in the end, you have, if you play like Whirlwind build right now, and the item bonuses kind of bony give it away. An example here, you have Whirlwind increases Fury generation by 10, and if you look at the set item right here, it says Whirlwind gains the effect of the Dust Devil's rune, right? So you have like one thing that is mandatory, right? Which is Whirlwind, right? Whirlwind, and you don't use the Dust Devil rune, but you use like something like Blood Funnel, which is physical and it heals you. And but the rest, you can kind of choose for yourself. I mean, of course, there are logical choices. For example, like boosting your physical damage or your critical hit chance. But for example, like using the sprint I have right here in combination with the charge. It's just, that's what I wanted to do. Oh, it sounded fun, right? So you have like a core, maybe like 2 or 3 skills that you kind of have to choose because they're just like either very logical to use, or you can't really play really fluently if you don't use them. But like 2 to 3 of the other skills you can just choose freely. Like you want, which I think is a really cool idea, a really cool thing. Yeah, so I'm gonna play a rift now, and if you've played season 1 and before, you will notice something. I mean, I'm playing on Torment 8 now, which is pretty high. I mean, I would have never imagined playing Torment 8, and you will still have points in the game where you go into a torment level which is higher than for your character, and you will get your ass kicked. I still have that when I go to level 10, torment level 10, because my defensive gear is not very good, and normally I just don't switch any defensive skills in. So I'm gonna play Greater Rift, which is I'm going to play a Greater Rift on Torment 8. And I'm going to show you how the game changed. And you will see very quickly how the game changed. Yeah, you see that? Yeah. There's no minute-long fighting of mobs anymore. Look at that. Look how quick I am. It's just, the game is on fucking steroids. It's crazy. And when I show you the time comparison between season 1 and season 5, you will see how drastically it actually changed. Oh, where did he come from? So as you can see, I go quite easily through Torment level 8 here, and yeah, that is. Sorry, I can't talk and play at the same time, which I should actually be able to do. But as you can see, it's like really fun because you're just so badass and everything's just so quick. There's no dying because of some weird like elite skill I have. I just go through here like butter, and it's like Torment 8, right? And I have to say, like, the farming aspect is really fun. Same goes with Paragon levels. I'm Paragon level 308, which is pretty crazy in its own right, at least when you haven't played in a long time, because you'll see when I show you the time comparison. I think the Torment level I reached last season was... okay, now those laser things, those arcane sentries, they're the only thing that gets me, man. They are so fucking painful. Yeah, I think the max Torment level I reached last season was... oh, look at this conduit thing. Was maybe, I think 147, right? In a much longer period of time. And there are more mobs. I think they got the amount of mobs per level like really nicely. Everything seems packed and just slay you away. It's like what a hack and slash is there for. And sometimes when you get one of those speed pylons, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you because the rift is already done here. Rift Guardian is coming. See how quick that went. I don't know how quick it actually was. You can see that later. See, I didn't even put him on my damage buff. Oh, now he's like an arcane sentry guy, which sucks. I gotta watch out a little bit. And of course, I have Wrath of the Berserker not ready yet. Oh, come on, get out of your fucking hole there. Oh my god, that hurts. Yeah. There we go. See, look at that. See, there are 4 legendaries now. It took 11 minutes and 34 seconds. I think rift time is 15 minutes. So it took 4.5 minutes to complete this, 4 legendaries. Now you can upgrade your gems if you want to. And I already have, that's another thing. I already have 3 gems on rank 25, on the max rank. And it didn't take very long. It didn't take very long at all. So let me rank this up, go home, and then we're going to disenchant because there's 1 ring here and 1 amulet, which is always interesting because those are kind of lacking on my part. Well, I have a couple of nice rings, but oh, we found a Stone of Jordan. Look at that. Oh, that is an awesome ring. That is actually a really nice alternative. Look at that. See, now you found like a really awesome item in just 4 minutes of play. Shard of Hate. We don't need that. Faithful Memory. What else? And we look at that. We have Sabatons of Waste, which is the strongest set for the Barb. Already 1 item. 4 minutes of play. Energy Trap. That is a crap item. We don't need that. And we got 215 shards, as you can see. Let's spend some shards because we can't spend much. What do I need? Let me see. I'm pretty well equipped actually. Let's try rings. Okay, of course now we didn't get a legendary ring, but most of the time, like yesterday, I bought 4 rings and I got 3 legendaries out of those. So that goes really quick. Disenchanting goes really fast, as you can see. I'm gonna get rid of that Shard of Hate. These aren't really better. I'm gonna keep the ring. Let's try if we can get a physical damage on that ring. It doesn't have a socket, which sucks. We can't really use it. It should have had like the wrong thing. It should have had no damage right here because the damage really sucks, and it should have physical. Oh, I don't know any death breath. Whatever. Okay. So let's go into my profile. Oh, by the way, you have like pets now that walk behind you. Look at that. Let's go to my profile right here and check it out. So we have this season summary right here. Let's go into my season 1. I played a Crusader. And how long did I play him for? Does it say? Oh yeah, it does. Florida Man. So I played Florida Man for 84 hours and 1 minute. All right, he is equipped for maybe Torment 2, maybe. Like, look at that. I don't even have a complete set. That's the that was like the best Crusader set. I only have 2 pieces. No, like random generic weapon. I got a nice Stone of Jordan. I would need that one. that one should have dropped. That's actually like a really nice ring. But so I played for 84 hours and 1 minute. I reached. Does it say? I reached Paragon level 189. And now let's compare this. So I played that character for 84 hours, right? That was it, 84. I played him for 84 hours. I played this character for 40 hours, so half the time. There's a lot of idle time in there because I remember one time I went to bed and I didn't close the game, so that ran for like 7 hours. So I would probably say maybe 30 hours because I like to go to desktop a lot. As most of the stuff is the gems, all the gems are max. My legendary gems are max. I have all the best in slot items, not the good rolls, right? Not the perfect rolls, but almost everything is best in slot for my build. Played half the time, right? And reached, like 40% higher Paragon levels, half the time. Let's go for other stuff. Here, first season. All right, gold collected, 205 million. Gold collected, 420 million, half the time, right? No money problems. Second is elite kills, 9,854. 5,732 in half the time, right? And that is almost the same, right? Same increase. The difference is of course, I'm like best in slot now, right? So I only had to kill half of the elites that I had to kill in season 1, and half of the amount of time to get best in slot. Monsters killed 107,000, 96,000. So you can see the monster rate, not the spawn rate, but the monster pack density is increased by almost double, which makes it so fun to just hack and slash through everybody. Another thing is blood shards collected, 12,000, 21,000, right? So in half the amount of time, I collected double the amount of shards. And now one thing that really strikes me is the next one, which is bounties collected. 371 bounties collected. I did the 371 bounties on my season 1 character. No wonder I got burned out like really quickly. Season 4, 65 bounties. Right, I don't even remember really focusing on doing bounties. I did them here and there to craft like a Hellfire amulet and to get some crafting materials, but that was about it. Nephilim Rift completed. Same. So as you can see, they kind of doubled or almost tripled the speed of the game, which makes it I was playing like a Rift yesterday, and it was really awesome because I was playing with 3 other people, and they were all really well equipped, and we played a Torment 8 Rift, and it just went so fast. It was like we were all on speed. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So to sum this up, oh yeah, let me just cut this. I want to show you the screen, which is really nice. So every time you complete a Greater Rift, you get the people that took part, and you get your time. So it took me 3 minutes 25 seconds for 4 legendaries, 1 which was pretty good. That's pretty awesome. You get a lot of experience points. And you can check your personal best, and you can check your friend's personal best, which is kind of nice because this guy right here, Red Bull Maxell, I met him like in Torment 2, I think, in a Rift, and he was pretty well equipped, and he found like an item, and he asked me if I want to have it, and I took it, and then he sent me a friend's request. So, and since then we were having this battle right here, because I remember his best Rift was like 35, so I went in and I did like a 36 Rift, And then he went up to 40, and then I was like, okay, you bastard, I'm gonna do 42 rift. And like 2 hours later, I logged in, and he did a 43 rift. I haven't done I haven't done a 44 rift yet. Should do that, but that was actually like really fun, right? So you can like compete a little bit, pushing those rifts. So let me sum up my experience here. The 30 hours that I've played this game, which is quite a lot since Friday, but as I said, I like pulled a muscle on my back, whatever, and I couldn't do much else, so I was like constantly playing Diablo, and those 30 hours were really, really worth it. That it was really, really fun. I never once had the feeling that I would normally have after a couple of hours, where I'd be like, okay, this is grind, it's not going anywhere, the progress is really slow. Never had that. I had a lot of fun in these 30 hours. So after 30 hours, right, I'm equipped best in slot now, almost. So I have 2 things I can do now in the game. One is keep on grinding, keep on trying to get that, warrior blood ancient weapon, or to keep on grinding and find that second unity ring for my follower. Or I could push greater rifts. I could think of tactics of going through rifts and trying to get into the top 1,000 at one of those leaderboards. Those are the 2 things. And the pyramid has become so narrow now that that will require me to do like a lot of work, right? Like a lot. And I'm at the point where I think I might not do that. I might quit. And sometimes when I listen to a podcast or something and I want to play, normally I play like FIFA, right, and listen to an audiobook or podcast, because you can listen and don't have to think that much while playing. Same goes for Diablo. Might do that in the future. I really feel like doing a rift or something, and play like maybe once a week. I don't know, but those 30 hours I played, really, really worth it. I think, and I mean, nobody's going to listen to this, but I think it has become a better game now than Diablo 2. I think if they released Diablo 3 like this when it came out, it would have been not that hated upon. It would have been a huge hit, because this is what it's all about. It's fast. You feel badass. You have tough spots. You get items constantly. You have a lot of build diversity. You can suit the build to your needs. You make progress. And then if you want to go like hardcore, and not Diablo hardcore, but if you want to really invest time, you can start pushing those greater rifts and trying to get in the top 1,000, to have your name in some leaderboard. But 30 hours, very worth it. And I mean, now it's like, well, the bar was like so damn fun. Would I consider leveling another character and doing the same thing? Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not tired of the gameplay yet, because the gameplay is just so fast paced and action packed. I thought about, just like helping people to level. I mean, if a new character would start now and I would pull them through like a level 8 rift, I think I heard somebody, it takes 20 minutes to level 70. So I could help like level people up if I wanted to, or I could, go stream a bit and pull people, gear up people, pull them through like Torment 8 or something. That's something I would consider doing, because it is a fun game. The way it is now, it's really fun. I have had no moment, like not a single moment of frustration. And that's always the thing where, like before where I started, okay, I'm getting frustrated by this game. Why am I even playing it? It's just work. It's just grind. It's frustrating me. I should stop playing it, and I should never play it again. 30 hours in, never had that moment of frustration. I had a little frustration because, well, that's part of the random number generator, I guess, because like my armor slot right here, the hexing pants of Mr. Yan, yeah, which is a nice damage boost for the Whirlwind Barb. I couldn't get that. I got it yesterday. That took me the longest time ever. I got it with shards finally. I must have pumped like 5,000 shards or more, probably more, into Kadala to get those pants. And the funny thing is, I got the pants, converted the power into my little power library, put it on, and the next drift, what dropped? Hexing pants of Mr. Yan. Well, that's just a Diablo for you. That's what happens. So yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about. Long video, just a little rant, not rant, just a little random talk about a game, just putting my thoughts out there. So yeah, if you want to play, if you want like a boost, if you want to play to level 70 or whatever, write me a message and I'll gladly help you. So goodbye.